I was a co-host. I don't know.
Okay, we got it. We're recording now, folks. So
Okay,
Well, guys,
so do we have everybody here who's going to be here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Christina won't be here. So we're still short
Jose.
somebody. Yeah. Do we know if he's planning to attend?
I can shoot Jose an email right now.
Yeah, I'm gonna text Carol and ask her. Is she collected? I thought he was.
All right, well, we can give it another minute.
And I was having some audio issues with my Zoom last week, but it seems like people are hearing.
Mhm. Yep. All right, well, we have a quorum, we could get going.
Yeah.
So it's 2:31. I'll call this meeting to order in Christina's absence. We're meeting virtually, as stated on the agenda. Would someone like to read the mission? If not, I'll read it. All right. At Mount Greylock Regional School District, our mission is to create a community of learners working together in a safe and challenging learning environment that encourages restorative-based processes, respect, inclusive diversity, courtesy, integrity, and responsibility through high expectations and cooperation, resulting in lifelong learning and personal growth. We have the FY 23 through 25 bus transportation on the contract, on the agenda. I did not see a copy of this contract in the packet. Was it there and I just can't see it, or?
It was not in the packet, Carrie. I apologize. That's my fault from just not getting it in. We can send it out after the fact, but Joe and I can give you the highlights.
Okay.
Here today. We went out for bid. Joe, I can't remember when we sent these out. I think it was in March, with the contract ending June 30, or the end of June, end of July-ish. We had one response back. The one response back was from Do4 Tours, who is the current holder of the contract, and met all of the qualifications that we set forth in the request for proposals. We have had a couple of meetings leading up to putting out the RFP, just not talking about the contract, but just what would it look like if we wanted to move start times and end times, which are kind of codified in the contract. We had a couple of good conversations with them about what that would look like, how we would move forward. We did go out requesting a 3-year contract. You are allowed to go longer on a school bus contract. We actually did not want to get locked in because we think a contract change just offers more flexibility if there is a time change in the way that you're going to approach the beginning and the end of your day. So we are looking at a 3-year contract, and overall the response that came back from Do4 was an 8% increase year over year. So this fiscal year to next fiscal year. Joe, do you want to jump in there?
And 8% for year 1, but then remains flat years 2 and 3.
Right.
Which means we take our lump in year 1, but most of the other contracts that we're seeing are things like 5, 5, 5, so compounding, and just mathematically it works out in our favor to do the 8% and then hold it steady for a couple of years. The only other area that is it's standard in contracts, but I think this is the first time where we're extra aware of it, is the fuel escalation clause. So within all of these transportation contracts, there is a clause that states that if fuel prices deviate from the amount that was known as of the bidding, up or down, parties have various rights to be able to introduce fuel escalation or de-escalation cost within their billing. And right now, fuel prices were starting to rise in March, but they are definitely higher, much higher than they were in March. So we're pretty mindful of that as we look out, especially over this coming year, but perhaps over the next 2 or 3 years.
So that's kind of why I was hoping to see the contract, because I don't remember how it's organized. Do we pay fuel? I mean, how does that work? If fuel prices go up or down, does it affects how much we're billed on a monthly basis, or? Yeah,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah, so all of the transportation contracts that we know of within the state, at the time that bidding happens, there is a known price per gallon for fuel. That is the base. And if the actual price per gallon varies significantly above or below that, then the parties have rights to recoup their costs associated with that change. So these contracts are all cost per bus per day, which bakes in your basic expectations around staffing costs, insurance, certifications, all of that, equipment for the company, and fuel. And then if fuel prices vary significantly, that's when this clause comes into effect. And there was no way to get around it or peg it, but that's something that we'll be keeping an eye on, because we know that going into the school year, we're living in a pretty different fuel cost world than we were over the last few years.
I have one more question, but does someone else have a question? Ursula?
Yeah, I was just going to mention, I just did a big proposal for work for a big transportation contract. And so got quotes from our commercial shipper that we use to ship product out of Pittsfield. And they had the same thing based on the price of diesel. There's a surcharge. It just seems very standard these days. It's a huge percentage based on where we are now. So it feels, well, we don't like it. It feels like kind of what all the transportation companies are doing.
Yeah, I mean, they have to pass on the cost to the consumer.
Yeah, on a related, and I feel like it's related enough to talk about it within this agenda item, but there are plenty of companies right now, when they're making deliveries, they are at least attempting to add fuel surcharges for deliveries. So it's something that our payables office is quite on top of, and trying to make sure we're following every letter we can. But it's something we're keeping an eye on this summer and fall.
Julia, did you have a question? No, okay. So my question was, from Jake, from what you were saying in terms of future contracts, it sounds like the schedule is remaining the same for this contract as the schedule that we have, which means we're locked in for 3 years.
I don't think you're correct that the start times and end times for all 3 schools are constant with what they have traditionally been. Joe and I spoke with our depot director, with Dufour's finance person, and then we also met with via Zoom, and then on a phone call with Bill Dufour. I don't think if we were to move forward and make a change in the start time for any or all of the 3 schools, that is something that we could sit down and work out. I think it's easiest when you are at a natural break, moving from one contract to a new contract, which is why we wanted to keep that option open with a 3-year rather than a 5-year. But we would be able to sit down and go in and refigure this, moving into year 2, moving into year 3, if that's where we are.
Okay. Would someone like to move this contract as proposed, and then we can continue discussing if we want to? Julia? Would someone like to second?
Second.
Thanks, Curtis. Are there more questions or comments? All right, hearing none, seeing none. Let's do roll call, alphabetical order.
Bowen, I.
Ah,
Elfenbein.
yeah, Christina
that was
and
weird.
yeah, Jose, or as, it's like weird, right?
Yeah, that
Okay.
messed me up big time. Sorry. Elfenbein eye.
Yeah, all right, green eye.
Malloy, I.
Miller, back end did a job.
Yeah, all right, so that is unanimous in favor of this contract as presented. All right, thank you, Jake and Joe, for your work on that and further discussion about school times to be continued. All right, we now have a motion to move into executive session with intent to return to open session per MGL Chapter 30A, Section 21A3 to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining, MGIA ESP contract, and A2 to conduct contract negotiations with non-union personnel, superintendent, business administrator, annual contract details for FY23 and non-union staff vacation days. Would someone like to move that? Thanks, Julia. Would someone like to second?
Come on, Curtis, thank you.
We're on a roll. All right, roll call vote.
Bowen, I.
Elfenbein eye.
Green eye.
Malloy, I.
Miller, I.
They were quick learners. So we're gonna stop the recording and ask Mr. Dravis, I guess.
Good one.
We could go to a breakout room if that's more, if that's gonna be better for Stephen.
Okay, all right.
Either that, or if it's easier, somebody can just text me and let
I
me
was
know.
gonna say, we could call you if you want.
Okay.
Okay, great.
Does
We'll
that
let
work?
you know when we're
Does
done.
anybody have
Thanks.
my cell phone number? Does anybody have my cell phone number?
I think I do.
I'm
Let me
just
just
looking.
check. Let me just.
We can, we should stop recording and then Stephen can let only us know his cell.
All right, we are back in open session and we are contacting Mr. Dravis as we said we would when we came back. So we'll just wait a minute for him to join us.
And I've just reached him by the phone and also emailed him.
So there are 3 votes on the agenda. The first one is the contract with the lead custodian and groundskeeper. So we'll do that one first when Mr. Dravis arrives back. All right. So is there a motion to approve the addendum to the collective bargaining agreement between the Mount Greylock Regional School Committee and the Mount Greylock Regional Educational Association educational support personnel as presented in the packet?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. All right, is there any discussion? All right, hearing none. We'll take a roll call vote to approve the motion.
Bowen, I.
Constantine, I.
Elfenbein eye.
Green eye.
Malloy, I.
Miller, I.
All right, that motion passes unanimously. Okay, the second order of business is non-union vacation days. Steve, would you like to make this motion?
I would. And do you want me to read it?
Yes, please.
The school committee authorizes the superintendent to roll or buy back paid vacation leave for a total exposure of up to $20,000 for the district,
for non-union personnel.
for non-union personnel.
All right, is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, is there any discussion?
Who was the second?
Julia.
Julia.
Julia, yep. All right, hearing none, seeing none, let's take a roll call vote to approve.
Bowen, I.
Constantine, I.
Elfenbein, aye.
Green eye,
Malloy, I.
Miller, I.
all right, and then the last item, what that is the superintendent business administrator FY23 contract details. So let's have a motion to approve the vacation day buyback rollover and 22-23 salary proposal for Joe Bergeron, school business official, and Jason McCandless, superintendent, as presented in the packet.
I will make the motion.
I'll second.
Okay, Julia, thank you. Is there any discussion?
Just wanted to thank them for their service. on behalf of
Absolutely.
All right. I think I'm going to add the word excellent in there. Thank them
Thank you.
for their
I meant to say
excellent
that,
service.
yes.
I think you did mean to say that. You were
Yes.
just occupied
Yes.
by.
I'm typing too many
so
things now, but yes.
the first full year back, I won't say post-COVID, but the first full year back in person, it was a big one. And a heavy, well, I won't use that term either because people don't like it, but it was, went very well. It went very well, and in good part thanks to the leadership of both Joe and Jake. So we're very appreciative.
Can I denote in the minutes that that is the consensus of the committee? Thank you.
I see a lot of head nodding and thumbs up. So, all right, let's take a roll call vote to approve.
Bowen, I.
Constantine, I.
Elfenbein, aye.
Green eye,
Malloy, I.
Miller, I.
that motion also passes unanimously. Are there any other items for discussion that were not anticipated? No, all right, I don't have anything, so I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I will make it.
Second.
Ursula seconds.
I got to change Julie to Ursula. Okay.
Sorry.
Make
keep
some
you on your
work for
toes.
Steve. All right, roll call vote.
Bowen, I.
Constantine, I. I keep waiting for.
I know, I keep waiting for
When you
Christina.
and Christina were out, it was both, it was chaos. I didn't even know if we were meeting. Elfenbein, aye.
Green eye.
Malloy, I.
Miller, I.
Thank you. That motion passes unanimously. We are adjourned at 3:41 p.m. Enjoy the rest of your days.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
See you all Thursday. Is that right?